So I want to start this off potentially a little inflammatorily. Is that a word? Inflammatorily? I don't know. It's going to sound very inflammatory with how I start this. The Red Wings season was a complete failure. Full stop. End of story. Period. Amen. Hallelujah. I don't want to hear about points. I don't even want to hear about Lucas Raymond, whom I love. I don't want to hear about injuries. I don't want to hear about, being in the bubble. The goal of the season was to make the playoffs. And you might say, well, Stevie didn't say that. Stevie said we were supposed to be a bubble team. I don't care. You're 5 years in. Make the playoffs. And you were in it, right? And Derek Lalonde, to his credit, in the post-game presser, or not the post-game presser, the end of the season presser, admitted as much. He said expectations change. When you go out and you win 6 in a row and you're 9 points up in the wild card, expectations change. I don't want to hear about being a bubble team at that point. At that point, you got to be a playoff team or else the season is a failure, which it is. Now, is that to say that there's no hope? Absolutely not. There is hope. For one, Lucas Raymond is a star. Now, I don't have the stats in front of me. I believe he had 72 points on the season, a 30-goal season. He's going into a contract year, so we're going to have to sign him, and he's going to get the big bucks because he deserves it. He was absolutely elite, and he carried us down that stretch for most of it. When Dylan Larkin went down, he was the one who really started to take over the games in terms of scoring, and one can hope that that will continue throughout his career, hopefully, for the next 3-4 years as a Detroit Red Wing. On top of that as well, Mo Seider also showed himself, maybe not offensively, but certainly defensively, to be one of the top of the line defensive players. I want to say he was in the top, if not the top, in shots blocked. Like I remember hearing that at some point later in the season, that he's one of the best shot blockers in the league. And he is, like, it's hard to find those kind of, top line defensemen to be playing at the level that he's playing at his age. So that's good. That's the fun stuff. And Dylan Larkin, obviously continuing to be a really solid player. Is he a superstar? No, but he is a star. And he's shown it. He's had, I think, now 3 30-goal seasons in a row. Like he can stack up numbers and he can light the lamp. So that's all fun and good. And then obviously a couple other guys, you had some fun with Patrick Kane. Don't know if he's coming back. Alex DeBrincat, despite his disappearance for like 2 months, still overall a pretty good season for him and a welcome addition to the offense. But this team lacks defense and it lacks goaltending. We saw that down the stretch. We saw it even in December when, they were giving up, 6-7 goals every other, or 5-6 goals every other night. There was a point in December where they hadn't won a game where they scored 3 or less goals, like all year to that point. So clearly defense is a need. So that needs that defense and / goaltending, those are the need. And we have allegedly some youngsters in our pool that are either defensemen. Obviously we got Simon Edvinsson there near the end. He showed some nice stuff, but he didn't really play enough to where you're feeling like, oh yeah, he's going to take over, right? And on the flip side, our goaltending situation was absolutely laughable. Ville Husso couldn't stay healthy. Alex Lyon, he was probably the best goalie all season, where he had that stretch where he was just really, really good. James Reimer, sometimes he would be good. He was pretty good on Tuesday night, despite giving up those goals. He made some really incredible plays in net. But none of these guys are number one goaltenders. And we're 5 years into this. We have 2 goaltenders in our system, and Trey Augustine, who's not going to be up for a little bit. He's still in college, so he's not going to be up for a little bit. But Sebastian Cossa was taken a couple of years ago at this point, and he's in the AHL. As far as I'm concerned, he should be up next year. And maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe the hockey nerds will tell me how wrong I am, that a guy that was taken, 3 drafts ago it either was 3 drafts ago or it will be 3 drafts ago. This upcoming draft is not NHL ready. I just don't like, even to be a backup. I mean, like how long is this supposed to take exactly? And especially given the fact that we're 5 years in, and again, we have just 3 players drafted by Steve Yzerman playing. Like, at this point, I'm just tired of hearing about our prospect pool when, if these guys were so good, if they were so hot, they'd be in the NHL right now. And they're not. Like, you could say, well, they're not ready. They can't be any less ready or any worse, frankly, than the Joe Valenhos, the Andrew Kopps, the Ben Sherratts of the world, or the Jeff Petries of the world. Like, even if they are at least as good as any of those guys, I could live with that, because at least they're young and they're learning and they can develop to become better. It really, like, maybe it helps to keep them in the AHL for eternity, but like, Mo Seider is not like, Mo Seider's not like 19. Like, this is the other thing that bothers me. Like people say, oh, what do you want, some 20-year-old to come up? Well, first of all, if the 20-year-old is putting up the same sort of numbers as the 40-year-old or the 35-year-old, yeah, I'd much rather the 20-year-old put up those numbers than the 35-year-old who has no future for this team. But secondly, like, these guys aren't like, 19. They're not all like teenagers, okay? Like, I'm talking all the guys that were drafted with Mo Seider, the Elmer Soderbloms of the world. Where is he? He was playing last year in the NHL. What did he just fell off or something? I'm not even saying that he is going to be this superstar player. The point is, if this prospect pool, which is always ranked very high in the media, and I trust that that's true, some of these guys got to come up and make an impact. Now, that isn't to say that, we need to put all our hopes, all our eggs in one basket and bring up all these prospects and have them take over the team. That's just not realistic, nor is it really responsible. But at a certain point, we got to use the guys that we have. And that could mean in trades as well. You could trade some guys to bring in an established talent, to bring in that defenseman, to bring in that goaltender, to bring in, that top of the line scorer. I just I get so tired of hearing about patience and Ken Holland and coaching and all these things when it's like, well, 5 years in, that's a you problem. Like that's a problem of your own creation at that point. And yeah, okay, sure. We still have some guys from Holland under contract. Understood. Okay? Like, the guys on the ice, the guys put there, couldn't get the job done. And Derek Lalonde, he seems like he's going to be coming back next year. I would have loved to move on from him because he just doesn't seem like much of a motivator, if you ask me. And again, maybe I'm just too stupid to understand the intricacies of hockey. As far as I'm concerned, you get the puck in the net, you win more than the other guys, you win the game. It's not all that complicated. But it looks like they're going to bring him back, especially since they had the end of season presser, and he was there. That's usually a sign that the coach is coming back. But he should be on thin ice, as far as I'm concerned. No pun intended. He should be on thin ice. I really don't get the obsession with. Here's the thing that doesn't make much sense to me. The obsession both with fans who wanted him fired, but then also with acting as though this isn't somehow Steve Yzerman's fault, right? Like, he literally hired this coach, right? Like, he hired the coach and said, here's the roster I'm giving you for 2 years, things, right? Do things. Like, if he fires him, then this would have been a mark against Steve Yzerman. Yes? Like, I don't know. It's not Ken Holland didn't hire him. Chris Ilitch didn't hire. Well, maybe Chris Ilitch hired. I don't know. But like, I don't. I'm trying to think of who is Justin Abdelkader didn't hire him. Like it's like he didn't just fall out of the sky. Is my point. So seems like he's going to run it back with him. Give him another chance to make the playoffs. But at this point, it's like the more you keep pushing it off, like next year it's like, well, now it's like we're still basically in the, well, just make the playoffs and that's okay. And then, the year after that, like, then it's like you're at that point, you're at year 7. Like, we're thinking, like, what are we gonna like start actually competing for the cup by like 2027? Like, what? That can't be the timeline. Like, we are actually going to be living in the world where Ken Holland's "a rebuild can take 10 years" is actually true. And Ken Holland will have been completely, like, vindicated. Because clearly, even if you get the best GM in Steve Yzerman, and don't ever criticize him according to Red Wings fans, because it's not his fault, have you seen how empty the cupboards were? Like, we're literally going to be living in the world where Ken Holland was right. Rebuilds can take 10 years. I don't believe that's true. And hopefully it's not true. And next year, the Red Wings are this super team contender who just come out of nowhere. Like, they're the Vancouver Canucks. And they, Lucas Raymond just, like, has, like, 100 goals. He just becomes Wayne Gretzky magically. And Moritz Seider becomes Nick Lindstrom. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think next year, though, at least make the playoffs. And as far as anything else, apparently there's no standard anyway. So why should I even bother putting any sort of, pressure on them? Because people are just going to get mad because they don't like it when you tell them the truth. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.